Hey VC, what's up? Tim back again. So, why did I do that? Notice that every time I introduce myself, I have to feel the need to adjust my glasses. So maybe it's just an involuntary reaction. Who knows? So anyway, today's video is being brought to you by the wonderful contest at Bill's, the Vinylverse. So Bill's a newer channel, kind of like me. Actually, I think I discovered him. It hasn't been too long. I mean, yeah, he's commented on mine. I've commented on his, and he's just a hell of a nice guy. He's a huge Genesis fan. Not mad at that at all. So, and he just recently hit 100 subscriptions, and I think right now he's pushing 140. So, congratulations. Very well deserved. In fact, you should. I've seen a reason why you shouldn't be climbing and climbing and climbing. Great taste, shows a lot of great stuff, very knowledgeable. So if you're not familiar with Bill's channel over at the Vinylverse, you know the deal. There'll be a link down below. So this one's a pretty simple one, and I like them. I like them when they're easy because it's fun. It's easy to do and easy to participate. And this one's called "We're Going Live." With this, he wants you to show, a few live albums. He wants you to talk about a couple or maybe a concert experience, which I have been to a few, and then kind of talk about the show that maybe eluded you. So we're going to jump right in with the live albums. Now I could have shown, some of my favorites. I think they're almost staples in the vinyl community at this point. Live After Death from Maiden, Worldwide Live from Scorpions, that kind of stuff. I don't want to kind of go off the beaten path, and I still think they're classics, but I think they're worth showing. And I'm going to take this one out of the plastic because a little glare. Now this one, the cover is a little beat, but I think you get the point with this one here. This is the Allman Brothers brand live at the Fillmore East. And it doesn't get more iconic, doesn't get more epic than this. This is an original pink Capricorn pressing. I've shown this before, but there's a reason why this is a classic. This really just is a benchmark in that jam band kind of southern feel. You can hear the influences of the southern rock movement from this album into how bands like Marshall Tucker and Dickie Betts and Lynyrd Skynyrd and so on and so forth. Even bands like Little Feat kind of took their inspiration from this album. There's a reason why this is a classic, and this should be a staple in everyone's live library because it's just fantastic and it doesn't let up. The other one that I have is a box set, and it's the Who's Joined Together. Now I actually saw this tour. This was the anniversary reunion tour. This is a 3 LP set. This is obviously after Keith Moon had passed, but still you had John, you had Pete Townsend, and you had Roger Daltrey, and they pretty much did everything you'd want them to ever do. Like I said, I think I may have talked about the show before. They didn't have an opening act. They came out, they did a few songs, pretty much blew through Tommy. We'll see in a bit, take a break, come back, and then it was just mega hit after mega hit after mega hit. And it was a nice 3+ hour show. So this one to me is special because of that. Because I got to see the Who with some of my friends from high school. And it was one of those ones. It's like when you're listening to older music in high school and you're discovering the '60s and the '70s, and you graduated in the '80s, you wonder if you're going to see these bands and if they're still going to be as good as you hope. And they were, So it was absolutely fantastic. So on to a couple concert experiences, and I've got so many. I can talk for days. I've even joked maybe that should be a feature on my show, on my channel, about some of the live shows. But I think I'm going to go with two, and there's a reason why I'm going with two. My very first real concert. Now, when I say real concert, I remember walking around at a Six Flags with my grandmother at a young age, and Charlie Daniels was playing, and we went in, and it was a free concert, and we sat for a few songs, and she was like, "I'm bored, let's go," and I'm like, "But it's live music, I want to stay," so, and the free, at a baseball game, because I would spend summers down in Norfolk, Virginia, so you would sometimes get bands at they had a minor league baseball team, so there was something bands there for a little bit, and those were concerts, live music. But to me, the first, we're gonna buy a ticket, we're gonna go see a major band at a venue, was Genesis. Believe it or not, my first concert was Genesis. It was the Mama Tour. And I was excited. I mean, I was beside myself. I was like, I don't know what to expect. I mean, Genesis, when that album came out, 84, 85 maybe, so I would have been 13 maybe, so, hadn't really had an experience of what a concert was going to be like, and, and so I'm wide-eyed, and I'm bushy-tailed, and I'm ready to go, and, and I'm standing maybe when you shouldn't have been, and I actually remember this vividly. It was a slower song, and I'm still standing. I just thought that's what you do at a concert. You pay respect to the band, and I didn't understand. And I was actually blocking someone's view, and the guy was upset, and it was one of the very few times my stepdad was actually a decent human being. And he turned around and he said, "Look, it's his first concert. He doesn't know. It's his birthday present. I can sit him down if you want me to, but let's not holler at the kid." And the guy kind of backed off and said, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry," and anything like that. And they explained it to me, and I was like, "Look, I'm sorry. I'm learning." So I did sit back down, and at another point again, I stood up maybe a little bit longer than I should have, and I actually turned around and said I was sorry. And the guy was like, "No, dude, enjoy your show. Have fun." And it was a blast. I mean, I really got to know a lot more of Genesis's library. Because again, then, when you're 13, 14, you don't think that this, because you hear this band on the radio, they're going to have this huge catalog. But they do, and, the love affair was born. So that's one. The other one I'll talk about, and I'll talk about it briefly because I think I might have mentioned it before, but maybe not in the greatest of detail, I was actually at Live Aid. I used to live outside of Washington, D.C. when I was a kid and subsequent adult. But we got tickets to go see Live Aid, and we drove to Philly to go to the venue. And as awesome as the bill was, and you got to see so many bands, I mean, Black Sabbath reunited, Zeppelin hit the stage in the U.S., we got, I want to say Tears for Fears, or did Tears for Fears have to cancel or something? Somebody had to cancel, and for some reason, George Thorogood was the last minute ad. Run DMC was there. You got Dylan on stage with Keith Richards and Ron Wood. You had, it was just, act after act. And then you got the satellite feed from the UK, which almost every time they kicked it over to the UK and it was a band you wanted to see, it would go out. And because Queen's performing, all of a sudden the satellite feed would go to hell and stuff like that. And I remember the concert got held up for 20, 30 minutes because Phil Collins from Genesis again performed in the UK and then caught the Concorde over to perform Rock and Roll with Zeppelin. So they needed to hold that up so he could do that. And then I think Bonzo's son finished out the set. So there was a lot of technical issues moving on and forward. It was still a great show. It was awesome to be able to see all this money go to people in need. But they didn't prepare well in Philly for this, and they ran out of ice. It was dangerously hot. They had to hose the people down that was in the lower seating because there was no air. People were passing out. It was a nightmare. I just remember feeling after that show that we had been through something, and some of it wasn't fun, and it was very tiring. It was very gruesome. A lot of people were very frustrated, which is sad because when you think about something that was supposed to be, we're getting together, we're rallying for a common cause and a commonality to help our fellow man. it's sad that frustrations got in the way of that. So a good and a bad, So, but still, was a great show, and it's still one of those things that I will look back on. So now, who did I miss? And again, I have two. One is the Police. I'm a huge Police fan. I love the Police. Unfortunately, they broke up after Synchronicity, and I was just now starting to get into that. Concerts could be an option. So I never got to see them in their true heyday. They did a reunion tour, and I want to say it was a few years ago. They did a reunion tour, and I wanted to go. I mean, I was like, what are tickets? And I saw the prices. No. Love you. Want to see you live. But there's a point where you have to say you are overcharging just because you can. And I know people are going to pay it. And congratulations. Go enjoy that show. It will not be me. And I didn't pay it. And I remember finding some outlets online that had decent quality recordings of it, and I listened to it that way at various places. So I got to hear what they sounded like, but yeah, I wasn't paying that much. And the other one was Stevie Ray Vaughan. Now, I had made plans to see Stevie when I lived in Maryland. It was in a venue in Landover, Maryland, called the USA Arena, which is now a parking lot. I had made plans with some friends we're going to get tickets, and we're going to go. We're going to go see Stevie, because this is the closest we're going to get to Hendrix, who would have made the list had he still been alive. I mean, he died before I was born. To me, that's just not fair. But I wanted to see Stevie. I was like, this is it. This is what I should do. And it was the In-Step tour, and he was clean. So we were looking forward to seeing him full of life and full of energy and full of vigor. And we've been hearing a lot of great things about the shows, and we wanted to go. So we made our plans, tickets and things like that. Well, my grandfather ended up having surgery, and it was cataract surgery. And they were like, look, this is a big deal, especially because of your age. There is a chance nonetheless, but still a chance that something could go wrong. We think everything's going to go fine, but there's that chance. So my grandfather calls me and says, I really want you to be there when they take off the bandages. You don't say no. You just don't. And at that point, like I said, let's look at the facts of the day. Your grandfather's calling you, telling you he wants you. Stevie Ray Vaughan is now clean bill of health. He's taking care of himself. He's clean and sober, and he's written an album about that journey. He'll be around. Sell the ticket and you go. History is what history is, and not too long after, he was gone. It's not a bitter pill. It's still would have been awesome. Grandfather was fine. Surgery went well. But when your family calls, your family calls. And I just took it as I wasn't meant to see Stevie. And that's okay. But he still eluded me. But thankfully, we have lots of live videos, and CDs have resurfaced, and there's obviously bootlegs that I will, if I can ever find, I will grab. But it just eluded me. I was actually more angry about the Police, because it's like, you guys got money, why are we price gouging? Because we can. So anyway, that's my We're Going Live entry. If you are not familiar with Bill, again, there will be a link down below. Please check him out. Bill is a fantastic guy. He's a great member of the VC. And like I said, shows a lot of really great stuff. Really loves his Genesis. So it's refreshing to see new members, and really just going out gusto with all their love. And I'm with you on the Genesis front. I have seen them 3 times, and I've seen Phil once. So I love Genesis. And, the fact that you were able to get so close to to see them in 2007 was absolutely fantastic. On the We Can't Dance tour, I want to say I sat like 20th row, maybe 25th row. So still awesome seats, but yours topped that by a long shot. But it's still good to see that they're, in 2007 they were still packing it in and getting some great love. So anyway, that's my entry. It's gone on a little longer than I expected, but I am a talker, so I apologize for that. Bill, wonderful channel. Congratulations on the 100 plus. Everybody be well. Take care. We'll talk soon.